Hello, I'm Monica Gibson and I'm joined down the line by Sean Yokota for an economic update on Japan. Sean, the Governor of the Bank of Japan, said last year's sales tax hike dealt a bigger blow on growth than initially expected. Was it really a necessary evil for Japan?
Yes, I think so. If you look at Japan's public debt, it's about 243% of GDP. It's just one of the largest in the world. And they need to get that down before all the baby boomers retire. So they need to go through some fiscal consolidation, whether through tax hikes or through spending cuts. And yes, it's true that it put Japan in a recession, but I think it also gave a bit of confidence to the people that this time when you increase the taxes, that it does hit you short term, but you can come out of the recession and the economy is still doing relatively okay. And things like equity markets are still pretty high.
It's been 179 days since the last time the BOJ took markets by surprise. But even as investors have bid up Japanese stocks, deflation has made an untimely return. Do you think the Bank of Japan has another shock up its sleeve?
Yes, I think so. And I think they will have to do another round of quantitative easing. My forecast is for them to do it in July. But I think many of the markets are thinking either more towards the fourth quarter this year or early next year. I think the inflation numbers have been coming in relatively low, but Bank of Japan has been hesitant to react because inflation expectations are still held up pretty well. But the trend is that they are heading lower and lower and lower, and if you see some negative prints on headline inflation, I think that will push inflation expectations even lower. So if that gets set, then the deflationary mindset returns, which is something Bank of Japan wants to avoid. So I think they will have to do another round of quantitative easing to push up inflation, weaken the yen, and push equity markets even higher than where they are now.
In a glimmer of hope, however, data on Wednesday showed Japan's service sector sentiment improved for the fifth straight month in April, as consumers began to feel the benefits of rising wages and bonuses. What will be the driver to take the Japanese economy out of the woods?
Yeah, I don't think there is one silver bullet that's going to take Japan out of the woods. I think it's a combination of things. First, I think you do need better exports. So exports have recovered from 0% last year around this time to about 3% year-over-year growth. And I think as the U.S. economy picks up, exports will help Japan get out. The second thing you mentioned, I think the consumer sentiment has to continue to improve. And I think with 2 years in a row of decent bonuses and wages, I think the consumption will come back as well. And then lastly, it's really the businesses have to change their minds, and especially business investment. And I think the confidence is rising, and you are slowly seeing companies starting to use that. So that's by way of either increasing their investments or giving higher pay to the employees. So I think you need all three of these to improve in order to get Japan back on track.
Kuroda said on Wednesday excessive yen strength has been reversed since the introduction of the bank's massive stimulus programme in 2013. What's next for the yen? How do you see it trading moving forward?
Yeah, so SCB's target for year-end is 130 versus the dollar. And I also see kind of three drivers. One, I think you do need another round of quantitative easing by Bank of Japan to push dollar-yen higher. Second, we do need some reaction from the Fed. It doesn't have to be June or September, or it just needs to hike or move in a contractionary monetary policy. And last thing you are starting to see is some capital outflow. So since there is excess of money in Japan, now the life insurance and the asset managers have slowly started to send money out to hunt for yield. And I think that will also weaken the yen.
Sean, thank you. Well, that's all from Sean and myself. Also today we have Commodities Corner, Press Review, Industry Catch-Up and much more. So please do keep clicking back. Goodbye.